Hello, my name is Stefan Healy. This presentation is on citizenship, and it's a coach's guide to citizenship intended for the Gallaudet football coaches. Gallaudet, our mantra is do the right thing. We always say we're in the business of developing young people, and teaching and preaching citizenship goes along those lines. We have in this presentation, I want to just explain what citizenship is, explain what our staff's role in that. We want to really, the concept we want to get across is what I'll say is challenging the bubble. The bubble is whatever you can reach, see, touch or feel. We end up with a lot of athletes, and I think it's just, whether it's today's generation or not, who come in and they're so preoccupied with their own personal bubble. And with cell phones now, and everyone can just live within their own worlds. So we must challenge that and let them know that they need to be a part of a greater society. I met an engineer a number of years ago who travels the country, and he teaches very intelligent people, but he says he communicates on a 10th grade level. The reason why is because he guarantees everybody can understand what he's saying. So I've used a couple of kids references within this presentation. I've used the Kids Britannica definition of what citizenship is, and just to hit a couple of key points, really main points here that it emphasizes is that you are provided with rights, okay, and then you have duties in return. All right. So what is citizenship? Again, let me expand upon those rights and responsibilities. These are they're two separate entities that have a mutual relationship. It's a relationship of mutual benefit. I think, I'd like to quote John F. Kennedy here, and hopefully I'm not paraphrasing. He says, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And that's the kind of mentality we need to get across to our athletes. So, citizens' rights. These are passive, often underappreciated because we receive them without giving anything. So there's a perception that they're just given, and really they're not. We're born into a country where we have freedom of speech, we have the right to vote, and we have a lot of these benefits, but they've been earned, and now it's our responsibility, okay, to give back. I like this quote from Joe Ehrman in Marx's book, The Season of Life. It says, that's a responsibility of every citizen in the community. You've got to figure out what's right or wrong, and then you have to act on that. And we do. We need to always be consciously aware of our society and what we can do to make it a better place to live. Okay, so our responsibilities. Now, our responsibilities, this is where we become active. Okay, we need to teach our student athletes, okay, that they need to be active within our community, active on campus, active within the society. Okay, there are roles and responsibilities that are quoted that I've listed here that might not pertain to a student athlete right now. They are very relevant, but not as relevant where we are in our situation. We really want to teach our student athletes to be able to just be aware and contribute. And the concept of contribution to the community, to society, to other people, and beyond that bubble that I spoke about earlier. Again, I want to keep concepts simple. As we try and present information to the students, all of our students are raised to know the difference between right and wrong. Our culture is infused with nursery rhymes, stories, fables. Our movies, everything is it's about getting the right thing done, and we need to make sure that we take that right thing and take it beyond, once again, the concept of the bubble. We're taught what's right or wrong from a young age within our program. Our mantra is do the right thing. We've got to broaden the perspective to let them know that there's a world outside of them. The video link that I've attached to the PowerPoint presentation, it's comical, but it's a kid who's, I'm not sure how old he is. He's probably about 6 years old, and he understands the concept that you can make the world a better place if we just love one another, and it only takes one person to do, to make a difference. Okay, so what are we going to do within our program? Right. First of all, we've got to get people to think about others before they think of themselves. We've got to create that concept of community service, and that's towards the environment and the people. If we're walking on campus and there's trash on the floor, we should be picking it up and putting it in the trash can. We've got to encourage people to volunteer without their arms being twisted. I know we have our own community service programs, but it's like, well, you better show up. And we need to change that mentality to one where they want to volunteer because it's the right thing to do. We need to reward those kind of altruistic actions. We need to reward them, and and reward people who are taking care of these problems as soon as they see them. I love this quote. I have it on my email. Someone is sitting in the shade. Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted the tree a long time ago. We need to kind of take that concept and instill it within our athletes. We need to create, do some things today that's going to benefit society tomorrow. And I think we also need to have some goals. We need to know how, when we reach our targets. So this is really establishing establishing goals for what we want to achieve in the future. So we want to take care of the less fortunate. We need to protect the environment. We need to develop our community, and make sure we're sacrificing ourselves for others, and be aware that the community comes before the individual. All right. So why do we use citizenship? Why is all of this important? There is such a drive right now for our young student athletes to come in and stay within themselves. I say within, I use the term bubble, but we really need to challenge that, and we need to burst it and get these young athletes just to break out and participate in the community and participate in society, and not create their own little small sub communities. They've got to do things that are better for the greater good. All right, so we've got to, as I said here, combat the world of individualism. All right, and make sure everyone knows that there's a community outside of that. I love this quote from Mark Richt, the Georgia football coach. He said that if a guy comes back and says he's a better husband or father, a better citizen because of going through our program, that would mean more to me than a national championship or a high public opinion. I think that speaks volumes. I think that we want to have our goal to be our student athletes to come back to us in years to come and say, thank you, you're the coach that made the difference. All right, in conclusion, we've got to remember we are an educational institution. Our job really is to develop our young people. Okay, part of their development, all right, or their holistic development is understanding that they are a citizen of the world. They are not just a citizen of their subgroup. They're not just living within their bubble. They've got to understand that they are part of a greater community. And as football coaches, we have, for want of a better term, a position of power. We have a very strong influence on them, and we have a unique opportunity to develop these young people. And it's a great tool that can be used, all right, just to develop our future generations. And then in closing, I'd like to say, you'll see on my PowerPoint here, it says, to remember Jesus' greatest commandment. The second of these, right, is love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. Okay, and I think that if we start with loving one another and prioritizing one another, I think we'll be on a good path. Thank you.